Good evening, everyone, and welcome, one and all, to, of course, the Comment Dense Podcast. And hello, everyone. We are once again streaming to you live. Oh, it feels like ages we were here doing all this, everyone together. And of course, there's some technical issues already abound, isn't there? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's working now. It's working now, apparently. So it'll be fine.
Oh, it's fine,
How is everyone doing tonight?
I'm alive.
I'm alive.
Hide his balls, but will proceed.
Everything is fine. Everything is okay. How are you?
Yeah.
You're doing the good suck.
Hopefully not.
Couldn't help myself. I just couldn't help myself. I can never help myself on these things. Hello, everyone. I know our image is slightly janked up, but it is what it is. It's something I'll have to work on for the next podcast. Unfortunately, I thought I got it solved, and then Discord's like, "Hey, I like that problem. Thank you, Shadow. Just take that. Thank you." So, hello everyone, welcome to the show. For those that don't know who we are, my name is Ebak. I run this channel here at the Scratching Post. However, every kind of last Tuesday with asterisks of the month, I gather my three friends, Burr, Lemming, Shadow, or Doctor if Burr isn't available. We generally alternate between the two, and we just comment densing upon the news that happened over the past month. And it's been a month. So the reason we weren't streaming last. At a bit, yeah. Month and a bit. The reason we weren't streaming last week is because I decided that I needed to play the Outer Worlds in preparation for tonight's podcast, so that's why it is a teeny tad late this week. I can only apologize.
It took longer than we were expecting.
Yes, it took longer than I was expecting. Yes, I know, I'm slow. It is what it is. So
You just want to take things slow.
Yeah, we can't be like Divot and just like mainline the game like straight for 9 straight hours.
It is what it
I
is.
mean, we all know having a day job sucks, but we've got to.
Yeah. God, yeah. Getting too real there. So we're gonna just jump straight into the news of what's been going on in the past week. I want to thank Burr for assembling from our. We have a feed of news that we keep track of in the month. We tend to kind of talk about a lot between ourselves, but we, of course, we tend to talk about an hour for the news and then half an hour on the topic. I want to shift towards the opposite so that we've got an hour on the topic and half an hour on effectively the news. So we're going to blast through these. So starting off with the first bit of the news before I trip myself up on anything. Of course, the main trip up which we need to talk about is hello Dick, hello Dork, I can see you in the chat, is of course none other than Tripwire. Tripwire's CEO was in the news earlier in the month, of course, because he did a boo-boo.
He decided that
Boo-boo.
he was the arbiter of what people should be able to do with their bodies, especially people who carry babies to term.
Yeah, particularly.
And I disagree with that because I think the only person who should be allowed like a concrete opinion on what people should do in regards to carrying babies to term are the people who can carry babies to term.
What? Are you telling me, Shadow, that the person who actually carried the baby should have the final decision?
Yeah, I believe that.
It's madness. Madness, I tell you. Madness.
My word, what a novel and humane idea.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm pro-choice, but I think I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. I'm pro-abortion. Come at me.
I mean, that is a choice. It is what you've got the choice to make it. Now, how about let people make their own choice? Right. So yeah, he made a few tweets in the fact that he was reciting how glorious it was that they recently passed a bill. The Senate passed the Senate 8 abortion bill in Texas to go onto record, and he says he's a pro-life game developer. This was not too well received, as you can imagine, by people, quite rightfully so. Yes. And he was similarly taken to task for it, which eventually ended up with his he has stepped down as CEO effective immediately as of that time. As according to the statement, his words do not fall in line with Tripwire's values, the company said in an official statement, which I'm going to click on here to look at. So the official statement The comments given by John Gibson are of his own opinion and do not reflect those of Tripwire Interactive as a company. His comments disregard the values of our whole team, our partners, and much of our broader community. Our leadership team and Tripwire are deeply sorry and are unified in commitment to take swift action and foster a more positive environment. And they go on to talk about how he was stepped down and how he's been there since the beginning, etc., etc. All I can say is, good, gone. Let's now move on. We don't want to keep. We don't want to give more time to this asshole.
Yeah, translation. Dude did a dumb thing, so we booted him. Let's move on in a better light.
Yeah. It was hilarious when it happened on Twitter though, because he got ratioed to fuck.
Yeah. It was very nice to see how not only just the small people, but like celebs of the video game world, like Cliffy B said, "Okay, you can now unfriend me, thank you."
It was just like, okay, right.
You know, I always wonder what it's like to be the person on the receiving end of that, and be like, what is it like to be on that end of Twitter, of everyone on the internet saying you're wrong?
God, I wish I'd never find out, honestly.
Yeah, I hope I never find out either.
I don't want to find out.
Moving on to the next topic. So the next news, RuneScape was in the news, which not you get that in the news. RuneScape developer blocks a very promising mod because they wanted to do something similar themselves. They even retroactively changed the community guidelines for the mod to violate them, and then they reversed their decision. So that's the happy ending. That's that.
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah.
You know more about this, Shadow. So why don't you take this?
Extremely because the thing was, this mod has been in development for several years, if I remember correctly. And I think the modder kind of contacted Jagex at first, and they were just like, "Yeah, it's cool." And the day before the HD mod was supposed to release, they went, "No, fuck you, stop." And they were like, "Well," and they tried to get a compromise with Jagex, and I was like, "Well, how would we best do it? Could we compromise sort of thing?" And they were just like, "No, fuck you." And then people were like, "But the guidelines, though, that doesn't violate the thing." And Jagex was like, "Actually, it's just like, oh, we forgot to put that in the guidelines, so we'll just do that."
Seems to be that they don't see them as rules, more as guidelines.
Yeah,
that can be effectively said.
I'll make it legal.
The problem is that Jagex has cultivated a very vocal fan base because they managed to get old school RuneScape as a thing, and they forgot that these people would have a lot of things to say. So they basically just went down to, I think it was in Falador and probably Barracks, main city centers, and basically was just bumming around protesting, as you do. And Jagex was like, "Okay, yeah, I guess we fucked up. You could do the mod now."
Yeah, so basically
the in-game equivalent of "you done fucked up."
Yeah, RuneScape HD basically it was a high definition version of RuneScape, which kind of took the version of RuneScape and that
the old school version.
That's true. That's true.
Not RuneScape 3. This is the old school RuneScape and just tarting it up a bit.
Yeah. However, Jagex as a company decided to do that themselves, and this then meant they have butted heads over that. However, of course, when they were on the receiving end of backlash, they reversed the decision. I completely agree with you, Shadow. It was, yes, legally they are allowed to do that, but it wasn't right for them to effectively the way up until the last minute. They were like, actually, no, we're going to revise our decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be legal, but it's still something called a dick move.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much
Laws do not equal morality.
No, definitely
I think
not.
people need to realise that, because
following the spirit of the laws, not the word of the law.
Yeah, exactly, because there were certain laws in certain countries where which we could all agree were very bad things, but we're not going to get onto that.
Well, we had some laws in our own country for a long time, which we'd consider abhorrent today. You know, it's
yes, laws that have affected me and Ebac personally, in a way.
Precisely. Yeah. If you want to find out how, if you look at the law, go and check out the last episode of Apollo Justice on my VODs for a nice commentary on the law. Anyway, great thing. Yes, Doctor versus Rules of Intended versus Rules is Written. Yes, completely agree. So moving on to that from that topic, let's move on to see what's down the list here. So next, Twitch finally responds to the hate raid. So, for anyone who doesn't realize, there was a lot of raiding going on in August and September, which they've arrested a couple of people, or should I say they've sued a couple of users who they suspected were behind it.
Yeah, the hate raids have been going on for several months now, not just those two. It was just August and September they stepped up a notch.
Yeah.
They were really going for it because these hate raids have been occurring against LGBT streamers, especially transgender.
It's any kind of marginalized group, LGBT, colored, it's racial things. It attacks anything that's not male, straight, white, effectively.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's good that they've now stepped up. Although, a lot of criticism, I think, can be leveled at Twitch, but like, email verification is quite a standard thing.
Yeah, why did it take you this long to get this far? Kind of thing. That's what I was.
Appreciate it. We do appreciate it. It's brilliant, lovely. But why so long?
Yeah, it's like Nintendo putting certain things in Pokemon games. It's just like.
We'll get to Nintendo. Trust me.
It took you that long. Sorry, Burr, you were going to say something, and I rudely interrupted you.
No, don't worry. I've forgotten everything. You two have now the brain cell between the two of you. So
there you go. There you go. I've got it. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I threw mine away.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I guess I'm not getting one today.
Yeah, what I was going to say is just a lot of companies, and unfortunately Twitch as well, is just doing it the way that if it ain't on fire, you don't do anything with it.
Are you saying that they're basically the dog in that meme? Just sitting in the burning building.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
This is fine.
It's fine.
Yes,
yeah.
It's fine.
Well, the approach, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, is usually good, but it was broken. It was very broken for a long time. People were clamoring to fix it for years, maybe.
Yeah, agree. All I can say is I'm glad they finally got some tools, and I know there's some people are a bit uncomfortable about having phone verification. It is optional. I think it provides nice accountability. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to give up your phone details, but if you want to watch a streamer and they require it, then tough luck.
Yeah.
That said, Twitch, when are we going to sort out, the whole bots issue? Between you and me, Twitch, that's a problem.
Yeah, and I think we could do with some better moderation tools anyway. To be quite frank, because I don't like if I'm modding other streams, I've got delete the message, time out the user, or ban them. It's like I'm pretty sure we could have some more doohickeys going on here.
Yeah,
we could
we'll find some options.
Yeah, we could do with a timeout, as a rule, like timeout people who just joined and then let them speak after a while. Or
well, technically, is what the thing allows you to do, effectively.
Yeah, I do know. I do follow one stream, one channel that you have to be a follower for a certain length of time before it lets you chat, which is fair enough. I mean, I don't need to chat anyway on it because it's basically the Bob Ross channel, which just runs Bob Ross stuff like every weekend.
He's not responding to you.
Yeah, I know. But it's fine. I mean, I just have it on as background noise.
Also, it's the end of the battle of the billionaires, or the corporations. Apple versus Epic is over. It concluded with both sides losing. Losers.
Well, there was a little like point against Apple where they were like, well, you kind of.
Yeah, basically, it was a case that it was found, to cut a long story short, that Epic did violate their terms of the agreement. Where is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it did end in an epic fashion, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor's always there to provide.
I'll say in Epic's favor. So most Epic issuing an injunction in Epic's favor that forced Apple to put developers on its current platform to link to outside him. So yes, although Epic did lose, so did Apple, because the judge effectively said that Apple provides a non-competitive kind of environment, and so must allow effectively in third-party markets on there. So by taking it to court, Epic did kind of achieve what they wanted, but they yes.
But the problem was that they did break Apple's
They
terms of
did
service.
break Apple's terms of service.
Yeah, and what happens next is absolutely
Yes.
Glorious.
So
delicious remorse.
it goes to what I was saying, that Epic are going to fight this. And so they're going to basically go through the appeals process. However, because they've been blocked from being put back on the Apple Store because effectively Apple are saying, yeah, you want to exhaust all means? Fair enough. We just want to lay back on the store.
They basically went, well, we don't trust you, so...
Yeah,
and then Epic were fucking crying about it on Twitter. They were like,
yes, they did.
Just being mean to us, and everyone was like, you kind of brought this on yourselves, guys.
You kind of provoked this,
Yeah, you are being.
Wait.
You are being.
No, the consequences of my action.
Oh,
there seems to be this.
You're being dicks. Apple are being dicks. How did you think it's gonna end?
There seems to be a running thing going on here where apparently Epic seem to think they're the victim in a lot of circumstances. Oh, we allow we put gamers exclusives on our platform to allow competition. Otherwise, it gives developers a chance. We're the victim in this. It's like,
Wait a minute. Aren't you guys the ones spending all your Fortnite money on making sure that most indie games are Epic exclusive for like the first year? Or was that somebody else?
Or any kind of companies that you can afford.
Yeah, and any company willing to take the money, really.
Yeah.
In fairness, I can't exactly get mad at indie games taking it because they need the capital.
They need the cash.
The AAA games though could go fuck themselves.
Well, the indie devs also really benefit on it because 88 to 12 is a pretty good ratio for them compared to 70-30 that Steam offers. For
I do think that Steam do not acknowledge that they take too much and not take as much. But that's an entirely new, different topic that we need to get onto one day. So NVIDIA GeForce assets have been data mined, revealing that there is going to be a new PlayStation exclusive joining the PC's ranks, which is God of War.
Yes.
I'll actually be able to play it now.
I'm actually quite excited. I played God of War once, I loved it, and now I've got an excuse to wait because I can play it on PC.
Yeah, I played God of War when it came out, and then I sort of left it not play again, but when it's on PC, I really want to try it again.
I just realized I put a little asterisk next, like, unless I get my PlayStation 5 before then. But that's a big ask. That's a big asterisk right there.
But I mean,
I think it will get cold in hell before you get hold of it. Unfortunately, my friend.
Don't.
No. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get your PS5.
I'm hoping. It's still on eBay. 500 quid for 500 quid.
May I just point out that the NVIDIA stuff was data mined, and they basically said, "Oh no! They're just like placeholder names." And
that's just fire drill.
And then Sony and Ubisoft went, "DMCA, motherfuckers, take that shit down!" And everyone was like, "I wonder why you're doing that."
Yeah.
Testing was it, huh?
Let's put it this way. In my training for where I work, I did data entry. Did we use actual customer names or details? No, we made them up.
Yep. Yeah. No.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, when they're training like ward clerks on my hospital wards to do the admissions and discharges, the patient names are always like patient test kind of thing. XXXXX. It's just like, you don't use actual patient names.
No.
No.
Yeah, you use Joe Blogs and Tommy freaking Barrett or something.
Yeah, there's actually whole frameworks to hash your delicate and critical data, especially now that the GDPR is in the whole Europe.
Yeah.
So everyone is doing that. Why is Nvidia not doing that?
Beats me. But still, I'm excited about it. I really want God of War to come to PC. I think the fact that PlayStation are being a bit more like, let's put some exclusives up on there is nice. I'm still waiting for the day when PC just gets all the exclusives. As like, I've always imagined that PC should always be like the neutral ground with any kind of company.
Yeah.
Anything goes on PC. If you want console exclusives, that's fine. But anything goes on PC because it just it will solve something. Because PCs always remain a PC game will always remain supported, because even long after the company has forgot to update their drivers and it's no longer working, there'll always be a community that supports it and gets that up to date. So it's great from a preservation standpoint, which, as you can say, we've already discussed in the podcast. So let's move on.
Also, I just remembered that Facebook was out for like 6 hours yesterday
Yeah.
because they pushed an update which essentially locked everybody out of Facebook.
Yes,
So they couldn't get into Facebook to say, "Oh wait, we need to fix the problem that we created," and nobody could talk to one another.
It gets better.
How
Gets better. You know how Facebook offices have all the infrastructure inside
building as well,
working
didn't they?
on the Facebook framework. Internal Facebook, they were locked out of the building.
The servers locked out of their own computer systems, locked out of their own building.
They wanted to inform the security company to come and manually open the building, but oh no, the communicators are not working either.
Yeah, exactly, Doctor. I bet they used a WhatsApp group, but
wait,
Facebook, they fucking broke everything.
The problem when you put we put all your eggs in one basket, you know.
So Facebook was broken. Instagram was broken. WhatsApp was broken. Oculus was broken.
Yes.
6 hours.
Facebook,
6 hours.
And then Twitter broke as well, because when I went to bed, like, people were saying that Twitter was going down because everybody went onto Twitter.
Well, yeah, Twitter broke because of DDoS. Well, basically everyone who never used Twitter. Yeah. Everyone came, I need my social media fixed.
I need validation.
Go?
I need validation all the time. So
it was nice seeing all of the other slightly less used social medias.
Tumblr supremacy.
Yeah, popping onto Twitter and Tumblr to go, isn't it nice to be here? Yeah, well, it's nice to be online. Brilliant.
Thank God you guys are alive.
Moving on to the next.
Discord, they all did it.
Moving on to the next which will have me and Lemming very excited. Konami reportedly working on Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill games. Which there's also talks of them outsourcing a lot of their IPs to indie developers, which is a very exciting talk. Including a possible remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake. And to be fair, yes, Metal Gear Solid 4 you can only play on PlayStation 3. You can only play Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on PS2, or if you've got the remaster collection on PS3. You have a PC version, but it's not ideal, and it's not the HD version. And of course, you got Metal Solid 1 on PC and on PlayStation as well. It just we're getting to that stage where gaming had been in the 3D environment long. We've had a lot of collections of like 2D games, but we've not really had collections of 3D games, and we've started to get that over the last couple of generations, though, which is nice. So it is nice that we're getting potential remakes, and I would kill for a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, personally. And of course, more Castlevania.
Yeah, wasn't one Metal Gear like relegated to like the GameCube and never came off it?
Twin Snakes.
Yeah, Twin Snakes. And there was the numerous Metal Gear games that were on the PSP or PS Vita that are never going to see the light of day. Because,
Peace Walker, yeah.
Yeah, Peace Walker. I mean, it's in the HD collection, but that means it's on PS Vita, well, PSP and PS Vita, and PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. That's it. That's the only places you can find them.
Get those games on PC, Konami. You did it. You got gate. I saw a tweet because I've been playing the Castlevania Advance Collection. Someone's supposed to tweet saying, "I finally can say my PlayStation 4 is certified by Nintendo," because in, of course, the manual, it cites, of course, this is an official certified Nintendo seal of approval in there, and that's on a PlayStation. It's like, that's just insane.
I like the style.
Yeah.
You could
Nobody
make that
double
up.
check that.
Oh God, I love it. Speaking of, I've been really enjoying that, so we'll get into that probably a bit later. Next in not just companies being shitty, but countries being shitty. China continues its war on video games. It's not the war on terror; it's the war on video games. It seems as
Quick, blame something and avoid the fact that we're causing all the problems.
yeah. So in recent news, as everyone may not be aware, China has now restricted gaming time to just 3 hours of online gaming per week. Now, I will say that it's just online gaming. However, the important thing to notice is that gaming in China is notoriously very different from our Western market and even from Japan. It is very much online focused, with MOBAs being quite a common thing over there.
MOBAs and MMOs.
MOBAs, MMOs, and all sorts. So this is actually a massive hit towards that. Reading through this article, which is sharing from The Verge, children under the age of 18 will now be restricted to 1 hour of gaming from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and on public holidays. Oh, how generous of them. That's a change from the previous limit of 1.5 hours of online gameplay on most days. Gaming companies must restrict online...
Which is already horrible.
Yeah. And you must have real name verification has been placed to ensure that new rules are enforced as well. So they covered it today, and this is just... Yeah, it's... Nah.
Well, I mean, this is... If we wanted to see another of the examples how this is an oppressive system, look no further, because this is not because they are afraid that children will be like too addicted to online gaming. This is basically so that one more place where they communicate and like have sedative information like about how different it is, like on the West, for example, should not be spread and should not be spread in game-related chats and such.
No, I completely agree. It is terrible. It's all read by a country whose leader is obsessed with thinking that he doesn't look like Winnie the Pooh when he clearly does.
Yes.
I mean, it's also an entire country that seems to be taking, oh, won't somebody please think of the children a little bit too far.
Yes. Don't get me wrong.
Especially when once they turn 18 and become, adults and join society as working adults. Well, there are jobs in people making money in China and other places around the world where they basically start playing a game, buy some hacks, and then sell in-game items that were gotten by those hacks. That is a significant problem in a few games that I play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. Although that's an issue with the systems in general.
Yeah, exactly.
This is awful. It's another way of controlling people's lives. I get it. There are some stories I've heard of people, people being addicted in China and even outside of China, and it happens all over the world.
Yeah.
But those are like one out of hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah,
and the solution isn't to restrict everyone, it's to get those people help.
Yeah, you might as well just be locking them in a box otherwise.
Poke.
Yeah, it's like because prohibition totally worked in the 1920s.
Yeah. Go and watch it. If you're looking for a video, recommended video, oversimplification, go watch that. The oversimplified video on the Prohibition era. It just shows you just how stupid that was.
Or just go watch that one episode of The Simpsons.
Or that one episode of The Simpsons. Yes, exactly.
We all know that one episode. Watch that one episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah, but
in both cases, you'll be highly entertained.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a second part to this news.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
One that I really want to tear a new hole into.
Okay, I will let you go, Shadow, as I've loaded the article, as the headline reads from PC Gamer. China calls for less effeminate men in video games.
Oh, yay!
Because, effeminate men is what's wrong. Because if we had to actually treat more feminine people properly, if we didn't have to just judge people by what they look like, we might actually have to give a shit about people. But no. Anyway, this is dumb. This is just dumb.
Well, I'm just looking at the image and just thinking right now, I'd do him.
He does look very pretty. But the thing is, it's like they're so frightened of
I know.
effeminate men, and it raises a lot of questions. It raises so many questions. Like, one, clearly, if you're associating if feminine traits on a man is a bad thing, then what does that mean about feminine women, huh? And also there's the implicit sort of homophobia going in on there as well, and that's fucking stupid. And like, it's really ridiculous. Like, stuff like this just makes me go, yeah, I'm gonna steal. Makes me just think, yeah, out of spite, I'm going to steal all the masculinity from everybody around me and just become more a masculine woman. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, Shadow.
But that's what I feel like. It's just like I've seen, like, you see on
Can
this
you
podcast,
do
like
that?
three guys here very comfortable in their own masculinity here. I think in another life, Ebert probably was a femboy.
Probably
so-
was. Probably, yes. There's some
Yes.
alternate reality out there where that is a case, and I'm envious of that in many ways, actually.
Yeah, he looks fucking fabulous. Let me tell you. And it's just like guys, come on. There's only one conspiracy theory in this whole world that's true, and that's that gender is a conspiracy. It
Well,
exists.
it's a concept that exists separate from sexuality and your actual
Yeah.
biological agenda.
Yeah, I really like how our friend Kay summed it up. Like, gender is like money. It doesn't really exist. It's a construct that we have agreed upon because it works.
It's like time. Time is a construct. Time happens, but we only measure it in minutes, seconds, and hours because that's how we came to that. That's the concept we came to.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And
just like you
Just
cannot.
something that's
No,
just
go
something
on,
that's been
Lemmy.
batting around in my head for a moment. The picture of that guy, right up there, that we're looking at.
Mhm.
Like, let's count the feminine qualities. 1, clean shaven. He's got a very clean face. 2, long hair. 3, slight overuse of pink. That's it.
Also,
How is that
also
overly
his nips are
feminine?
out.
I mean, yeah, his nips are out, but they're male. He has a very nice chiseled.
I've seen
torso.
plenty of Greek. Actually, no, I take your point for it.
Yeah, let's be honest. Like, a lot of Greek imagery is very, very gay. I don't care what anybody says.
without a doubt.
I mean, a lot of historical sources.
That was a
are
culture who were very
saying the
comfortable.
same, yes. That was the culture that was saying, yeah, if you want to practice romantic love, do it with a fellow man. Wife is to have children with. That was their idea.
Yeah, but it's
I
like,
like
looking
this.
at this image.
I wish
looking
they
at this
weren't so
image,
fucking sexist, but
but it's like, this image. I was like, other than like the clothing, he's got a very big chin. He's got a very masculine chin. Looking at him, he's got the long hair, yeah, but he's muscled. What is overly feminine about this style?
I mean, I can see it, but the point is, it's a case of they don't want to show someone like that being acceptable or strong, because it provides validity to it, which is not what they want. Clearly,
Yeah, I'm just waiting until somebody like that walks up and breaks his arm.
Hey, China.
don't mess with her.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I've not exactly got the physique of a woman of a very feminine woman, but damn, I look good wielding a fucking foam sword.
Oh, you do.
We're with you on that one.
So yeah, China being douchebags. Or at least Chinese government being douchebags.
Like, and being very homophobic.
Really.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that the idea actually behind this whole call for manly men and dangerous idea like gender is more of a cover-up story. They just want to have another law that would let them manipulate and request in companies to modify assets that they have in media so that they are more digestive for the government.
Yeah, considering people have like World of Warcraft has altered like its undead models and such like to appeal to be able to pass through the Chinese censors. Is will they do similar things for this? Only time will tell.
Might need citation on that because I know that Japan also has a lot of different things about dead depictions, so that might have also been for the Asian market in general. I'm not saying it isn't.
No, it was the Blizzard the World of Warcraft ones was specifically for China.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
that's the one
there
example
was-
I know straight up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, looking at another example, Ubisoft was spent about a month considering changing its entire aesthetic for Rainbow Six Siege to fit more with the sensibilities of the Chinese market. In other words, they were going to remove all skulls from the game, keeping in mind that one of the characters has literal skull face paint as part of their character art. They were going to have to redo so much shit. And then after they talked to the actual community playing the game, they decided against it. So well done, Ubi.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, a lot of Western video game companies want to get into the Chinese market because there's so much like untapped sort of
Money.
stuff. But the thing is now, it's like at this point, it's like, well, what's the point? You might as well just back out because even though it's a huge market you can get yourself into, if your consumer base is only being if it especially if it's the child under 18 consumer base is being only restricted to a couple of hours in on the weekends, what's the fucking point? And I think I'm pretty sure like Tencent's shares went down quite significantly when this was announced. But of course, they being majoritively owned by the Chinese government is also kowtowing to the effeminate to sort of say, oh yeah, we won't do effeminate depictions of men, of which I just say cowards.
Yep, coward.
You don't want to accept that some of them are prettier than women.
That's something I didn't
there you
expect
go.
to hear, but fair enough. Now we've come to
Yes.
the last news topic. We do have dishonorable mentions and things that didn't make the list, but I don't think we have time to cover them because, as per normal, we comment densely. So here we go. So segue topic: accessibility advocate and YouTube game reviewer Steve Saylor on his problems with and disappointment with the accessibility in Deathloop. So Steve Saylor, the blind gamer, I believe, isn't that what they call him?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's pretty much blind, legally blind. He's not blind that he can't see. He's just highly restrictive in his what he can see, and he go on.
So he literally has a video on his channel showing with the magic of Adobe Premiere what he sees when he looks at the screen when he's playing a video game. So you can literally see how blurred it is, how small it is, how indistinguishable things are from one another when he's playing the games. So to better understand how he's judging them.
Yeah,
And
if
go on.
If I might make a point, just to add on to what Burr's saying, like when people hear like people are blind, they expect like you see nothing, you just see blackness, and that's not specifically what people mean when they say they are blind. Because a lot of the terms now is legally blind, where your vision is impaired to such a degree that you have to have either like walking aids or a dog aid, or basically you can't drive or stuff like that. There are levels of vision impairment of which some people can see a little bit, some people can see around the corners of their vision, some people can't, some people just can't see the edges of their vision, they have no peripheral vision at all, or they'll see only half of vision. One eye will be significantly worse than the others, so they've lost depth perception and stuff like that. It's highly complex, which is why you can still use blindness. It's not, I can only say this as somebody who can see, who's just vision impaired, just not legally blind. But I don't think people are. I don't think visually impaired people take offense to being to the blind descriptor. I think it's more
We
you
need to
have to be.
understand that it's a wide spectrum.
It is a very wide spectrum,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean,
because you can be monocularly blind, or you can be binocular blind, or all sorts.
for example,
depends on the person for sure, but a lot of people do actually say that they are blind when they are somewhere on that spectrum.
because
Yeah,
it's easy to explain.
Yeah, I just want to make the audience aware that when people say they are blind, it's I mean, the natural assumption is like complete blackness, see nothing, and you go, well, how do you play games like that? It's like it's not that simple.
Yeah. I mean, disability. When it comes to disabilities are spectrum. Like for example, I'm deaf in my left ear. I can't hear anything in this ear at all. And maybe people look at me and think, "Well, how can you be deaf? You don't have a hearing aid because there's nothing there. There's nerve damage, so I get no fucking signal. So I can't have one." Which is also a problem because it means no one's got a clue that anything's wrong with me. So that's the thing, is that people make assumptions when you say I'm half deaf. It's like, oh, well, why haven't you got a hearing aid? Like they look at me when I flash my disability card on the bus and say, why have you got one of those? Because I'm half fucking deaf, you know?
Yeah, like not all disability is
The exact
visible.
same, or
Yeah. Yeah, because I wouldn't say I've got a disability, but you can clearly see that I need aid in order to see.
Oh, I'm saying I'm very lucky. I am.
Mhm.
I wouldn't call myself disabled, even though by letter of the law I am. It's just spectrum, as we say.
Yes, I do remember I put my foot in I put my foot in my mouth a couple of times with you.
Oh, trust me, you're not the only one to do that. I've had some people, let's just say, in a more harder aspect of life, say down a phone to me, "Are you listening? Are you deaf?" And when they don't know you, it's like, would you mind revising your statement there, please?
Well, that's a mean thing to say to anyone.
Yeah, it is.
Regardless of how impaired or unimpaired the hearing is.
Oh yeah, they're a dick. It's just that hits a bit more home to someone like myself. But to kind of bring it back to topic. So our topic for this week, which we kind of discussed a couple of weeks ago that we're going to talk about this, is accessibility in gaming. And when we talk about accessibility, we're talking in the broader spectrum of what it can be, not just for disabled people, but people who have phobias, people who have basically certain desires and certain wants, and what they can do. And I believe it's worth mentioning that Deathloop is a darling right now. It is such a good game. It is a great game.
Yeah, there's only one game that can take the GOTY title from it this year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But the fact that it is lacking in those accessibility options is unfortunate and rather telling. And I feel just dismissing it like, oh, well, this is not a game for those people, is being very dismissive. So we've kind of all this week been looking at thinking about different games that we've all been playing or played in the past with accessibility options and how that can be run. Now, I am going to put up the spoiler alert tag because my topic will be talking about the Outer Wilds, Echoes of the Eye DLC. And so if you've not played the Echoes of the Eye DLC, it's rather new, and so you probably want to avoid hearing that. That's perfectly fine. I'll try and keep spoilers down to a minimum, but unfortunately, by the nature of the topic, I have to talk about some aspects that will be spoilery. So that's my blanket statement. I can't speak for the others, but I can at least say that for myself. So we have a variety of games. I'm not going to go into the Outer Wilds right immediately. Do we each have a game in mind that we want to talk about in that respect? Shadow?
Mine might overlap with Burr's, so...
Okay. In that case, Burr.
It might. Well, I will have two games, so Shadow, you can start. If you are talking about the... I know what game you're going to be talking, so I'll choose the other one.
I don't know. No.
Would you two just please sort this out?
You go, Burr.
Okay, so I think you wanted to go for webbed, so instead I will go about Celeste. Because that is, first of all, a disclosure, I have cerebral palsy. So it's a very mild version, but still causes a lot of problems to me, especially in the games department, because I can't play FPSs for shit. I am horrible at aiming. I will need even with mouse and keyboard, I don't even try to play with a controller. That's
I honestly never knew. That's such a revelation to me.
Mhm.
I never told you.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, I
he
told
told
Shadow.
me he mentioned the abbreviation to me, and I asked for
Yeah.
clarification, and
thank you for
I've
being
always kept it. I've always kept it
thank
to my
you
heart.
for being brave and sharing that, Burr.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah. Also, tomorrow is World Cerebral Palsy Awareness and Recognition Day. So please take a look at the Twitter account, the Facebook account. Share the awareness.
What is that Twitter account, Burr?
It's the World CP Day.
Yeah, I think I can get it from Burrs, and I'll pass it on.
Please do put it in the chat.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. So, a lot of games would have like QTEs, which I hate with all the hatred. Let me get the controller here. So if I try to press with my right hand, that's the top speed that I can do the QTEs. I have to grab my controller, put the left hand here, and now I can mash the buttons for QTEs. I hate that in games. I would love more games that have QTEs turned off. Just like I would love games to have more options like slow down time or any other reducing of the precision platforming elements. They are. I love platformers. I really enjoy playing them. All kinds of Metroidvanias or precision platformers. They are great games. They have great aesthetics. They have amazing level designs. I'm just shit at them, and I love any help that I can get.
It makes so much more sense. You telling you were having problems doing the wall jump into Metroid now makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
I can fully understand
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember in it's not the game I was gonna take take the lead one, but I remember It Takes Two having an accessibility option for easier QTEs where you didn't have to hit the button as hard.
Yeah.
And now thinking back to it, I'm thinking, hey, that actually, I don't know if you actually chose that or if you
Actually, I
option.
was using my default method, which is pressing with the left hand.
You must have
Those QTEs. Sorry. Yeah,
no,
go ahead.
Well, no, please go on.
No, just those QTEs were much easier to handle because you didn't have to do any other things in the same time. And also they were
Yes.
like press at right moment. That's a bit easier to do.
Yeah, there was some hammering, but I
Yes.
remember I remember the hammering the QTEs were a lot more forgiving, and
Yeah,
it was
they were-
it was a build. It was a build, and you
True.
didn't. There wasn't really. I don't remember
Yeah.
there being like a bad thing if
Yeah,
you didn't manage to build it in time.
Yeah, and there was no time limit for that too. So that was good. But what I wanted to refer to is a game that's called Celeste, and for a lot of reasons, it won all the praises back in 2018, I think, when it was released. It's an amazing game. It talks about really important topics, which is your mental health versus how you treat your mental health. And the level design there is great. It is built it is built for everyone because the people who are masters at this kind of game, they will find a lot of super demanding levels for themselves. They will have a whale of time in that game. But people who are struggling, they will find a lot of accessibility options because you can in the game you can only have one double jump until you stand on a firm ground and rest. You can turn that off. You can have unlimited double jumps. If you climb surfaces, you get tired and you can sleep off. You can turn that off. You can slow time for a particular percentage. You can move. Everything will be moving like half as slow or like 60%, 70%. That was a blessing for me in the later levels because I had to slow time to the level where I could react quickly enough to what was happening there. And this is only why I was able to finish the game, see the end credits, and
also one thing I think is very important to know because I know about Celeste. I've not played it myself. It's on my list. Is that from what I understand, it doesn't lock you out of any achievements or any awards or
No.
anything by enabling those at all.
Yes, it
Mhm.
doesn't lock you out. And the thing is that this is this is a serious subject, and we might want to talk about it further in this matter, which is for the accessibility options to work well, they have to be properly tested. And for all of those, the people who were developing Celeste were testing them with the people who would benefit from those accessibility options. And only when they knew that those options were working fine and people were happy and satisfied with them, then those options were added. So the game was made so that the game wouldn't be broken when you switch them on, and still would be enjoyable and still would not lock you out from anything. You could still enjoy this game greatly.
That's great. I mean, I I I have heard a lot of good things about Celeste, and
Hmm.
I'm so glad to. We need more of that in the
Yeah.
general community.
Hmm.
I think there's nothing wrong with providing those options. Lemming, what's your game that you'll be talking about?
Honestly, I don't actually have one, but I just wanted to. I'm just going to give a shout out to the Battlefield games when it comes to accessibility.
Mhm.
Not play them much, so
Well,
do go on.
No. They do need a shout out because they were the first, if at least from what I understand, the first proper AAA sized game series to actually have colorblind options as standard in their options.
Oh wow.
They have a wide selection, at least from
Mm.
Battlefield 4, the one that I played the most. There is a wide range of different colorblind options, and the fact that still isn't as widespread as it maybe should be
Mhm.
should be brought up.
Yes.
Yes, completely agree.
Accessibility isn't just how difficult the game is or the controls; it's how you can see the game.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes,
If
it's
I
a lot.
can-
It's
if
a
I-
lot of
mhm.
things.
If I can cut in with the options for colorblind people, some games, but especially board games, have it really well solved because board games are a bit ahead in that particular area. Because there's a lot of color that you can miss, you can confuse when you have protanopia or deuteranopia or any other color blindness. So the board games are usually doing it in a way that the elements that would have confusing color, they also have some glyphs on them, or would be of different shapes. Like the stand, for example, for the meeple or for the elements would have different shapes. Cards would have special glyphs so that you can recognize not only by color but also by shape,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah.
helps a lot.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, all of the above. Board games are a very visual medium, so it's in their best interests to make all of the pieces, as it were, as different, both in color and in overall presentation. So you've got pieces with different bases, you've got pieces with different symbology on them.
Hmm.
Look at any board game out there, and a lot of card games as well, and they're all the same. Not all the same, but they all have the same aesthetic idea of everything needs to be completely different.
Hmm.
There needs to be a visual difference between all the different
Eas-
aspects.
Yeah, easily distinguished.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, hell, look at a classic game that I've been playing since my teenage years, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mm.
You flip a card, you know what that card is.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're got which variation of color blindness you have or any variation of your visual difficulties. You can tell what that card is because of the aesthetic of it. The different types of what's the art like, what's the color, so many different aspects of it. That board games are definitely something that maybe video game developers should look into when it comes to how to deal with the visual idea of for color blindness and other visual impairments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, to touch on Battlefield, like EA is surprisingly good about accessibility
Oh,
options.
for sure.
They're quite astonishing, and I think they made some accessibility sort of how they've done some things free for other developers to take
Yeah.
as
they
they will.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that was recent, wasn't it? They recently refused to copyright or otherwise trademark
Let me just double check.
certain aspects, which I'm all for. Well done, you know.
I think actually quite a lot of AAA the developers for AAA publishers, they put a lot of store for some levels, some sort of accessibility. Usually that would be for like the colorblind. That would be for sometimes for the fact that we have separate sliders for the background music, for the voices, for the ambient sounds, that itself is also part of the accessibility options, because there are people who have it hard to hear the speech, for example, out of the noises, so they can turn the music all the way down, or the noises, and they can enjoy the game more.
I remember there being a bit of controversy because there was a game released recently. I can't remember what it was, unfortunately, that was released and it didn't have subtitle options.
It was it wasn't the text, I don't think. It was Resident Evil. They subtitled the text, but they didn't subtitle the sound effects.
Yeah. Which is important.
Yes.
It's important to note that closed captions are very important. And I think it's nice that we've had the kind of disability side of things where it's helping people think. And then I think Shadow, I think your example and my example are a bit more less about accessibility in terms of disability and more about what people feel comfortable with and such.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about your example?
Yeah, and I also want to talk a little bit about subtitles, but we'll get onto that in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's a lovely little indie game that I've been playing recently called Webbed, and it's about a little spider of unknown origin who has to save her boyfriend from an evil bowerbird. And I hope you've already noticed the problem from that very sentence. Like, I am playing as a small spider. For context, I'm arachnophobic, and you might say, well, how are you able to play it? It's just like, my arachnophobia is, I do have it. I do have it. I can easily sort of divorce myself from little itty bitty spiders, or ones in like fantasy games. Like, if they're not realistic, then I'm okay with them. If they're big ones, or if they touch me, though, all bets are off.
And also let's mention. Sorry.
No, go on, Bert.
Let's just mention the spider in this game is hecking cute, and that helps a lot. It just looks like a plushie toy.
Yes, but the thing is, like, it will still scare people, because the phobias exist for, because they do. And even then, like, people will not be able to tolerate it. So Webbed has an arachnophobia mode. And people could say, but you play as a spider, well, what's the point? It's just like, well, the thing is, you just turn into a little fuzzy ball. All spiders just turn into a cute little fuzzy ball with eyes. And everything still works as normal. Like, you still eat flies, you're still spinning webs, but you've just turned into this adorable little fluffy ball that can be that people can tolerate. Like, there's nothing to trigger the phobia. You're just a little ball, and it's really cute because when you're on the floor and you're moving, the ball rolls instead of just like the normal animation.
And I actually like that because you're very interested in the look at Web, because it is a very interesting little platforming game with serious puzzles. A lovely little game. And that's the thing, you can be interested in a concept but have something so important turn you off. Like what is that game? The one where you're a tiny person.
Grounded.
Grounded, yes. The way they have like a slider by determining how spider-like do you want them to be, in terms of, I want them to be basically spiders, to actually no, I like them small until no spider. It's like,
well, they actually turn into just like two big orbs with eyes.
Yeah, and
but
that's the thing, is that it's providing options to people who have not disabilities but discomfort with certain things, or things that would otherwise stop them from just playing the game.
And it's a shame, because like Webbed is such an adorable game. Like, it has its issues, but it's a little indie game, and you can easily sort of it's easy to pass. It's
Yeah,
easy
you
to
can
get through it, and
you can
it's
absolutely. Sorry.
yeah, and it's just
No, go
such a
ahead.
cute game that I would recommend it. And the fact that the devs have been like, yeah, okay, we made a game about a little spider, but we put an arachnophobia mode in there, so like loads more people can experience it. That's like A++ in my
And
books.
it's very easy for people to go, yeah, but what's the point? You're playing as a spider. Don't buy the game. I think it's missing the point of the whole accessibility argument is that you should have the option to. You know, it's
Yeah.
especially as it is a platformer. You could very much take the spider theming out, and it's still a very much a similar kind of platformer, and it's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I think my example also provides a bit of a phobia aspect to it, which is Echoes of the Eye, which, as you guys know, I played the Outer Wilds. Great experience in my life. It was one of the not life changing is probably going a bit far, but it's definitely made me affected me. It invoked feelings in me and a feeling of I will never experience anything like this again. And so I was very excited to play the DLC. But the DLC is very much focused upon the fear of exploration and the fear of the unknown, the literal darkness out there. And there are segments, and please bear in mind that spoiler alert is still up there, that you encounter a new race of beings in this pitch black environment where you only have a little lantern that gives you that you can either have light around you or focus as like a torchlight in front of you, or completely conceal, so you're in darkness, and you have to basically deal with these creatures who are in the darkness, and you don't know they're there until you see them either shining a light on them or get close to them, and you hear them, and they will pick you up and they'll blow out your light, and it looks pretty scary. I am someone who I'm fine with playing Resident Evil and some scary games. I don't like Amnesia because I like to have the fallback of that. If I have got to deal with a problem, I have a pistol at the very least.
I can deal with my problems.
I can deal with my problem explosively.
Yeah, I can at least defend myself.
And the Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye made it very difficult for me to continue, because of its atmosphere. And yes, a lot of it was caused by atmosphere, but most of it was the knowing of I have to confront these creatures and deal with them. I couldn't sidestep them. There were a couple of instances where you can sidestep them. However, there is one specific instance where you have to deal with it. You have to go through a dark environment where you know there are enemies, you don't know where they are, you don't know where to get to you, and you have to get to your objective. I only got through that because I made a funny gag, and it actually ended up discovering something which I would have found down that pit. So, and that's the thing, is there is in that game a reduced scares mode, and what it does is it slows down the creatures so that they don't run after you, so that you can actually outrun them apparently. Although, yeah, I don't know. Then there's also the it also reduces the sound effects, so effectively there's less screeching, less kind of spooky noises in this other environment. So it does help there, and also it cuts apparently a lot of the music out, because apparently when they see you, there's this big drone kind of sound, the typical that you get in horror experiences. That's the thing, I didn't sign up for a horror experience, and these two are going to test that. I had to pull Burr and Shadow in on stream 3 because I didn't think I could handle it.
Yeah, and there's no shame. There's no shame in doing that. But
no shame at all.
The fact that he had to resort to that in a game that he really enjoys is that's not great. And I think a lot of people are gonna probably pull out oh yeah, but the anglerfish, and it's just like the thing with the anglerfish is I can see those fuckers coming. Anglerfish, they've got a light on their head.
I can see the anglerfish. They got a light. They're asleep. They're still. All you got to do is just avoid, doing the thing that activates them, and that's it. With the owl creatures, you don't know where they are. You don't know where they are. You could. I literally.
They're in pitch black, walking around.
There is a moment in that DLC.
I can't see them without annoying them.
There's a moment in the videos, if you watch it back, where I am now going down a well. I'm in the underground passage, and I'm like, I think I'm home free. I think I am fine. I run towards this bridge, and suddenly, out of the darkness to my right, I see one come at me, and I just keep going because I no idea he was there, and I don't know how I got past that because I nearly freaked the fuck out at that moment.
You managed to dodge around him, but I remember sort of seeing that in my peripheral vision as well, and I remember I screamed.
Yeah.
I remember I screamed. I was basically run.
And I can get on a whole topic about how the Reddit of it is considered a very controversial thing in that game right now by the community, with some liking it, some not liking it. I personally think it was a very, don't get me wrong, I like the accessibility option in there, but I think it's a very poor.
It doesn't.
It's not enough.
Achieved ways.
Yeah. It
Not
doesn't
enough.
allow you enough. It's not enough. And also for the anglerfish, it's not the same kind of fear. With the anglerfish, the fear is only the jump scare when they either first time or unawares. They just wake up, do the rah, and come at you. But after that, you mostly are just frustrated. They have no idea how to avoid it until you find out.
Yeah,
Because that's.
Yeah, because as I said, the anglerfish, you can see them. They're hanging out there. I mean, there's a great big fucking light on their head, and basically the thing is, you're just trying to sneak by them, kind of grandma's footsteps, kind sort of thing.
Yeah.
So when they activate, you know what you've done because you've made the noise.
Yes.
Whilst with the owls, they're walking around. You don't know where
Oh
they
yeah,
are.
they're patrolling.
You don't know if they could see you because they see the light, but what distance do they see my light, kind of thing. And the thing is, I'm in pitch black. I can't see where the fuck I'm going. I need this light out. But if I have my light out, they might be able to see
And
me.
there's been talk on the Reddit about how, like, oh, if you shine light in their face, it slows them down and all this.
They'd also do it to you as well.
Yeah, but also it's the case of, I don't want to deal with it. And I think there's a moment the DLC was, I just don't want to deal with this. I just don't want to deal with these.
Yeah.
I completely lost it, and I completely lost my rank. And to kind of push on a point here, that has single-handedly ruined the Outer Wilds for me. When I played the Outer Wilds the first time, I experienced it. I thought I will never experience anything like this ever again, and I regret that, and I'm gonna miss that. I went in with a feeling like I get to experience that again, all anew. And by the end, I was just like, I'm fucking glad it's over and I never have to go through that again. And that is sad when a game makes you feel exactly the opposite that you did. And I get that there's it's the point of the story and everything. At the same time, I think you could have an accessibility option. You could make wider accessibility options, like, okay, let's remove all the enemies entirely. Just have it all about atmosphere. The atmosphere itself was creepy enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The atmosphere really does make it. This is another thing with the fact that yes, you can like figure out that when you shine the light on them, they get confused for a moment and slow and such. But to do that, you have to not be panicking while you're playing, and the whole atmosphere, all the music that they're playing, all those screeching noises, the noises, the shapes in the darkness, the play of light and shadows. This game just induces panic in you. When you're panicking, you're not thinking. You're not figuring out things. You're not discovering things. You just want to run away and you stumble in the dark instead of enjoying the game, instead of figuring out how the game works.
Yeah, I'm afraid to put it to some people. I'm afraid to point this out, but fear is irrational. When people are in the depths of fear, some people can reason their way out of it, but it's extremely difficult. It's so hard because I'll give a personal story, like in a way. Like I once tried to do scuba diving when I was a little younger, and our bodies have something called the mammalian diving reflex, which is where we hold our breath when our faces are covered with water because, you don't want to breathe in. You don't want to breathe in water. That's a bad thing. But the thing is, when you've got a rebreather in your mouth, of course, that's what you're doing. You're breathing in normally. You have to breathe in. You breathe in normally, get air forced into your lungs, and then you breathe out normally, which is very strange because people think that you don't breathe out normally. But when I breathed in, my body immediately went, oh shit, we're breathing in water. What the hell are you doing? Get to the surface right now. And I cannot describe the fear and the desperation that I experienced. Like I could not have reasoned my way out of that, even if I tried. I remember sort of clawing my way to the trying to claw my way to the surface because my brain legitimately thought I was drowning, even though I was, I still had air. And like when you're really frightened, when you're really legitimately frightened, there is nothing on earth that will stop that you can reason out of that. And in that moment, like you can say, like, oh, just do this, do the other. Just like when somebody's panicking, they don't think. You don't fucking think.
Rational
And
thought
everybody
is not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody deals with everything differently. Like you can say, "Well, I didn't find it scary. Just deal with it this way." It's like saying to me when I'm having an anxiety attack, "Just stop worrying." Great, I've tried that. You think I wouldn't have stopped worrying if I could? But
I discussed the Outer Wilds, so I'm going to remove the small attack now because I don't want people to be turned away from watching this segment entirely. So I'm not going to talk anymore about that. But I do think it's important to note that The Last of Us 2 also has some very good accessibility options as well. I believe there's some people with restricted vision who even played that game all the way through to completion. So it's important for us to understand that accessibility is more than just disability accessibility, although that is also important. It's about providing comfort experiences to those across on single player modes. I mean, all bets are out when you go onto multiplayer because, of course, then you're dealing with competition. That's a bit different. But in a single player experience, you should have as fine tuned control over the experience as you can, to provide it, make yourself the best experience for you. Even if that makes the game easier, that doesn't matter because that should be your experience, and there shouldn't be the biggest opposition I find to all this is gamers.
yes,
True.
and like
'Cause
people don't like. Sorry, go on, Burr.
No, but you go.
Okay. Well, hold on. What was I going to say? Oh, okay. Now I got it. Okay, so yeah, this is about players because we don't know yet what really the devs said about the reception of the DLC. Because I've seen in many games that when the devs saw how many people are just blocked out of the game because they're not able to experience it or play it, they're devastated.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure seeing all those comments, the devs who came out with Outer Wild, I'm a bit sorry for them. But then again, they could have thought more about it. But I'm pretty sure they suddenly are realizing that they could have done more. And I hope there will be patches that will allow you to make this game a bit more accessible for people who don't take well to fear, to panic, like in comparison to others. And also, yeah, sorry, just one more
Please
thing,
go on.
because people might say, yeah, but this will lose the whole idea, will lose the whole purpose of the game. But the thing is, if you take away the fright from Slender, from Amnesia, or from Outlast, or from Soma, yeah, that will lose the whole thing and the whole idea of what these games are. But Outer Wilds was never above that.
I actually disagree about that. I actually really like the story of Amnesia. The problem is I have to deal because I've read the story of Amnesia. The problem is I've got to deal with fucking creatures in it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah,
think. Go on.
Sorry, it's just that's what I mean. The story is great, but a lot of people came for Amnesia, for Outlast, or for Evil Within, for the scares, for the atmosphere, for the terror that they feel in this game. That's what draws them to it. But that's not what drew people to Outer Wilds. That's not what drew people to DLC of Outer Wilds. Because everyone who played Outer Wilds, they felt this the spirit of joy of a discovery, the excitement of seeing all those impossible little planets, and that was amazing. That was great, and people who were drawn to DLC were drawn because of that.
Mm,
And that's not what they got.
no, it's not what I got. Not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
go on, Jenna.
And in a way, in a way, the DLC makes the rest of the game innately hostile towards you. And I think because the Outer Wilds to me seem more inviting. Just like, come on, do some
Yeah.
exploration. There might be a little bit of peril here and there, but most of the time you're safe. And then the DLC was basically like, bitch, you are now in danger. Have fun. And it just feels very hostile to me. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
it's very,
I
very
like that.
exclusive.
Yeah,
And
maybe
If
that's
you
just
want
a
an
vibe I'm
exploration
getting.
game with danger, you play Subnautica. You don't
Yeah,
play the Outer
exactly.
Wilds.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but even with Subnautica, you can you have you have difficult you have game modes
Yeah.
where you can tailor the difficulty to how much
Yeah, you can just
How
play it
much-
in creative mode where you can't die.
yeah, or you take away like the need to feed yourself.
There are a lot of gamers
Yeah.
who will kind of stand on the shoulder and say, "Oh, but then how far is too far?" Like, for example, what about in Resident Evil? Should we start removing zombies? It's like, well, no, maybe change zombies into other things, or maybe yes, the option is to remove zombies, or make them easier to deal with, or actually making headshots kill the zombies.
Yeah.
There are ways you
Yeah,
can make
like-
the games more tailor-made to experiences, and the problem is a lot of developers are focused on the experience they want the player to do, and then say like, okay, this is our experience, and that's what it is. Take it or leave it. Whereas I feel like they say this is the intended way to play, but you can tweak it all so you can play it your own way if you want to, and it doesn't lock you out on anything.
Yeah, or if you have to.
Or if you have to, exactly. I think that's the way it should look. We should look at it, is the fact that there's a lot of gatekeeping within the gaming community and saying that you shouldn't be able to do that, you shouldn't be able to do that.
The developer's vision kind of thing
Never-
with
never-
certain games.
Never when it comes to disability options. I will state that disability options are fine. It's just when you start getting stuff like the spider mode and the reduced scares and things like that in certain games, or I think what was it, Plague Tale, that has like sliders. What was that game?
Rats.
Game of Scarf that was playing where there's a disease going around, Contagion. I don't know, but the point is that you're able to tailor the experience.
Oh, Pathologic.
Pathologic, that was it. You're able to tailor the experience to what you feel comfortable with dealing with in terms of difficulty. I mean, it's no different than, it's basically a more advanced version of having easy, medium, hard. Effectively,
Yes.
it basically is like, here's options that make it easy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we were to kind of take and extrapolate this concept as far as it could go. A game presents you with the options, okay, easy, medium, hard, those are the presets, and they change things in these options, but you can mess with those options.
Yes, I think
Yes.
I've noticed that this specifically in Pathfinder Kingmaker, when you start the game, you have multiple difficulty options from the start, but you also have a custom where it's because it will explain like all the things it will change in each difficulty mode, but you've got a custom where you can just mess with them yourself.
Yeah.
There's one caveat to it, if I may be a devil's advocate for a moment.
Yeah.
Because Ebek, you'll probably know much better about that as a game design alumnus. Oh, however is it pronounced?
That's being a bit far, but sure, go for it.
Yeah, which is when you have multiple difficulty options, when you have multiple changes and sliders like that, you should be able to test them. You should be able to do quality control. You should be able to go through beta tests with all of them. And usually companies either don't have money for that, or don't have time for that, or don't have either.
No.
And they will just test the normal, the most default settings to the level they can, and just leave the rest sort of. It should work. If the sliders are changing this or that, it should work. And they leave it at that.
Yes, you are right. The fact that things should be tested. Realistically, though, that's just not possible because there's so many permutations. And sometimes not testing can lead to good results as well. For example, and I'll cite an anecdote I once heard, is that Kojumi Igarashi, creator of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and one of the main developers on that, he was questioned on why there were so many broken interactions between certain magical items and weapons in Symphony of the Night. And he literally was just writes up because we didn't have time to test them. But also, he then said, but then at the same time, they're so fun, so why not? It's one of those things
Yeah.
where sometimes you don't want to refine the experience. You want to have the game be playable. That's as long as the game is not bugging out. I don't call me that you shouldn't, game. Well, I'm not talking about Cyberpunk here. Your game should be playable. It's more a case of balancing levels and things like that. A game I will cite as a very good example as well, although done in a different way, is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. In that game, you can change the difficulty of the combat and the puzzles independently of each other, which I loved because I'm like, I don't have any interest on playing the game on extreme difficulty mode in terms of the combat. But you know what? I fucking love me some puzzles. So I cranked that bad boy up because I wanted that. And it allowed me to have a fun experience of being challenged in the areas I wanted to be challenged in and not the areas I didn't want to be challenged in.
Yeah, because that would be the complete opposite. I'd be like, I'm useless with puzzles, but I want to fight.
Exactly. Everyone wins.
No.
I wanted to say an example that may have a lot of would benefit from a lot of improvements, but what I really liked about it is when you change difficulty in Jedi Fallen Order, you can't actually slide them separately, but the difficulty you will be shown that changing the difficulty will change this to the time frame in which you can deal damage, you can get damage. It will change the health pool of enemies this way or that way, so the approach of accessibility in there is just your knowledge of what you're getting into.
That's actually a good point. A lot of times I've seen difficulty modes being like easy, difficult, easy, medium, hard. I was like, well, what does that actually mean? And they'll say abstract stuff like, oh, enemies hit harder or such things, but they don't actually go into specifics. Whereas Jedi Fallen Order, you are quite right. It says you have a wider time, you have a very long time in your gap to repel, and that goes down as you go down. It's nice that games give you that information to say, here's what you're in for if you play in this difficulty mode. I also like a game where it's not afraid to have you change difficulty mid-game.
That's very good.
Because a lot of people will call it cheesy to do that. I'm like, if I'm struggling in a part and I want to put the difficulty down to easy for that part and then put it up afterwards, why not?
Yeah, like the other option is I could just put the game down and never play it again.
Yeah, and it baffles me that gamers think that's a legitimate option. As in like, and this is the point I want to brag home about as well. Some gamers don't like it when it happens. Like we've talked about how From Software would get my attention and get me to play their games if they had difficulty options and sliders and accessibility options, but they don't. So I will never play their games.
It's the developer's vision for it to be hard. It's just like, yeah, but is it though?
It's developers.
Surely
It may be the developer's vision, but I'm the one that's dropping the money on this bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I'd also like to point out two things. One, it's none of your fucking business what people are doing
That's
in
true.
their games.
Yeah.
And two, I have below average hearing. I'm not deaf or anything. I'm not hearing impaired. It's just I'm on the sliding scale. I'm just a little bit low, but I like having subtitles when I'm playing games because I tend to have auditory processing issues when I'm listening to people talk. Like these guys have heard me respond to questions they never asked, or like I'll assume they've said words, and it's like I didn't say that, Shadow. I'm like, oh, okay, and to have subtitles underneath allows me to really like hear what people are actually saying and be like, oh yeah, I'm with the story, because like if things are crashing and hitting in the background, then fuck me, I can't hear shit.
I remember reading an article from PC Gamer that you sent me recently where there was someone, I think was Ubisoft's accessibility officer or something, done some research and found that people, if subtitles are on by default, people leave it on 76% of the time or something like that. And if it's off, people to turn it on about 56% of the time or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's a clear
exactly.
preference towards having subtitles on there as options. And it's, again, still baffling. There are some games that don't offer full subtitles.
Yes, I've got the article here. It's I'll probably link it in the chat in a minute.
Please do.
It's called "Is PC Gaming for Everyone Yet?" by Ruth Cassidy on PC Gaming on PCGaming.com, and I'll quote from here. David Tesserand, Ubisoft's senior accessibility manager, shared on Twitter that around 95% of players need subtitles on when it's the default setting, and around 75% turn them on in the options at least once. This is a significantly higher percentage of the population than those who have hearing loss. Over email, Tesserand says, "For us, accessibility is about removing unintentional barriers so that as many players as possible can enjoy our game. And concerning subtitles, that includes people with difficulty processing audio, like myself, noisy roommates, babies they can't wake up, crunchy Doritos, the list goes on." It's not just people with problems. You help a shit ton of other people who might not have like a medical problem, but they just there's stuff going on or anything. Like, for example, I played some Mass Effect. I played some Mass Effect games when I was supposed to be in my uni lectures, and let me tell you, having subtitles on is very nice. So I know what's going on, and even though
Let's hope none of your professors are watching this.
hi. I was listening for like the first half of the lecture, and then I got bored.
But no, I think as gamers, we should be accepting that we are not. It's the same old story. We are not other people, and people's idea of what is accessible is very different from each other, and we should try and embrace as much of that as possible, even if we think it's a redundant thing to do, because for whatever reason, like for example, an arachnophobia mode in a game where you play as a spider, it's such a fairly legitimate thing. I understand it, even though I can understand why someone would look at it and think, well, that's a bit stupid. At the same time, just because it's there doesn't mean you have to use it.
Yeah, exactly. And that also comes to the crutch of it. Guys, if you don't want to play with the easy difficulty option, it's not for you. Just play on the normal difficulty mode and leave other people alone, because we all have a story of like a guy who took it, who seemed like every time there was an accessibility option that made the game easier, it was almost like it was a personal affront to him. And it's just like, guys, it's fine. It's not affecting your game. It's none of your fucking business.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
the argument.
Feel free to play it at the highest difficulty possible.
Yeah,
That's for you.
The argument people say is, then why don't you play different games? Because that's not the point. You want to play that game, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, this is my game. I bought it with my money. I want to fucking play it. Did you buy the? Did you like? Is any of your business?
Like
No,
I say,
fuck off.
I really like the world of Dark Souls. I really, really do. I like the look of it. I love the idea of it. I love what lore I've read, but I don't want to invest that. I don't want to deal with all that. I don't want to invest all that. And that's the thing. It comes down to, I invested that time, so you should as well. It's like, but no.
No, I'm not you. Fuck off.
I know.
That's why I watch people play FNAF, because like I'm interested in this stupid sort of jump scare game about animatronics. It's just like I wanted to see the story that Scott Cawthon had stitched together, like all the dead children in the pizzeria, and I'm never gonna play that game. Never in a million years. I don't care. I don't care if people were just like, "Hey, we're gonna buy you FNAF. Play it for like Halloween." Like, no, I still want to experience this game, so I'll watch somebody else play it and get scared with them.
I am reminded of a skit done by Dara O'Brien during his stand-up routine.
Oh, is it the one where video games
are the only that locks off that locks off progress, that locks off story based on progress? Like, it's like,
yes.
I think his main thing he says is like, if a book asked you on chapter 5, what are the major themes of the book so far? Like, well, I don't know. God, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what we're saying, is that you don't need to use those accessibility options. Is it a crutch to use? Yes, it is. It's intended to be used as a crutch, but that's not a bad thing. And I'll say this quite outright. I don't like it when games have this thing. I like achievements, I really do. I don't like it when games have achievements where like finish the game on hard, medium, crushing, and things like that.
Yes.
Just give me like just complete the game. Doesn't matter what difficulty. You know, don't need
Yeah,
to.
so
I don't need to swing my dick around. You know, and show what.
I love the Doom games, for example.
Mm.
Why is there an achievement in these games that I truly love for completing them on Ultra Nightmare?
And also, can you not be super insulting with the difficulty with the difficulty names, please? Okay, thanks.
Oh
bye.
yeah. I have to admit that is kind of.
That's more of a Wolfenstein problem,
That's-
but yeah.
Yes.
That's a Wolfenstein thing, and also that's where you get weird because I'm like, I agree, but it's also part of like what makes this. You kind of get that in the series all the time. I'm like,
Well,
Yeah.
Yes.
in
I don't
Doom,
know.
it's kind of more
Yeah.
for legacy reasons because
Yes.
they did it in 1993, so they want to like appeal to the nostalgia of people that were the Heartbeat Plenty mode, yay!
But I do think
And
Yes.
Yeah.
Shadow's right. You could be doing better. You could do better to make it less demeaning. I think is the word. Well,
Yes.
put that.
Yeah.
yeah, the whole
mean-
like can I play daddy difficulty
Yeah.
with the nappy on his
Well,
head? It's just like
that's-
that's a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
okay, I'll take some. I'll take some ribbing, but like, don't demean me, please.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is demeaning. I get that it's supposed to be a joke, but you know what? It's a shitty joke. You know.
Yeah, it's a shitty
Yeah.
joke.
Although I think they did curb it a little in the modern Doom because the Can I
think
Play
so.
Daddy? I think I've been corrected by you guys with it. Is from Wolfenstein actually.
It is from
Yeah.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I think
it's
Doom was a
also
lot better about it.
Yeah,
I think the first Doom
Mhm.
might have had a easy difficulty that was a little. It was a little bit teasing, but it wasn't.
Mhm, Yeah,
It wasn't full on salty. I mean, I could go and have a look.
yeah. It's not like fully insulting, and it's still it's still showing those old names, but they are carved a bit so that they invoke the nostalgia, but also are more considerate.
Mm.
Yeah, in the Doom franchises, the easy difficulty is I'm too young to die.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean that's
fine.
fine.
That's fine.
That's
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I'm okay with a little bit of ribbing like that. That's fine. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's the Wolfenstein ones that's a bit much.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the can I
Please don't hurt me.
the yeah the please don't hurt me is fine, but is the Can I Play Daddy where you've got Blaze Beards of Switch with a bonnet and a pacifier. That's like, come on, you know.
come on, guys.
I love those
You're better
games,
than
but
that.
come on.
Yes.
Now there are some dishonorable mentions that there are a lot of games out there. There are more games that don't offer accessibility options, or at least are wide as that we're talking, compared to those that do. Subtitles are pretty much considered standard, even though there's some games, even those that don't have them in there.
God, I hate those games. It's just like, guys, come on.
It's a standard thing, you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also, can I also point out that this is not just for games. This happens in movies too. Stop fucking censoring the subtitles when people say
Yeah.
fuck. Can you not do that? Can you not treat like
Yeah.
hearing impaired people like they're children?
If-
They're grown people. They know the word
They know
fuck.
the word fuck. Yeah, if you're not gonna, if
They
it,
might have fucked themselves.
it's different if it's bleeped out and it is censored in audio because that's the point. It's a bit like how in we were talking about this when I was playing Brutal Legend and how it's funnier to have the bleeps because it's just funnier,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at that point, sure, yeah, do censor it, because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's it's part of the joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if people are saying the fuck word, please put the fuck
Yes.
word in the subtitles as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Don't treat
Yes.
hearing impaired people like children. Come on.
Yeah.
Also, company. I think that's mostly. I think I've only seen this in Japanese productions, but please, when you're doing games that are subtitled, leave the subtitles also. Keep the subtitles also in the cinematics, because often I see
Oh god, yeah,
subtitles
some are really
in the
bad for that
gameplay,
as
but
well.
not in the cinematics. That's
Yeah.
awful.
That's fucking awful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that to me is a fine example of like this is the last thing we thought about doing.
That's-
That the subtitles were such an
Right.
afterthought that they added it to the main game but didn't do it to
Yeah,
the actual
exactly.
cutscenes.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like too late to modify the game now. We just have to release it like as it is.
And also, I'm also going to stick a flag in this. Also, games, if your subtitle option is off, don't have subtitles on in the videos. You know, you know, make sure you cover.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy and just like, oh, we just made one video that has the subtitles baked in. Make sure you're actually doing what the options say. You know.
Yeah, because some people are turning the subtitles off so they can get pretty screenshots without the text on.
Yes.
Yeah, and also because it can be distracting for the eye for some people. I know people
Yes.
like that who
Yeah.
they're perfectly fine. They just find it distracting to the eye. For example, I find it distracting, even though it helps me at times. But
Mhm.
you know, the key thing is
Agree.
don't be lazy. Present these options to your players.
Yes.
And also make sure that you're listening to your community. And if you're not got your disability options in there from the start, one, that's a problem. But two, make sure it's in that fucking day one patch, or at least in a patch that's a week later. You know.
Also, can I just point out, it's current year argument. Can we have rebindable keys, please?
And that.
Come on, Nintendo.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. Rebindable keys. It's a standard thing. Deathloop doesn't have rebindable. Well, actually, no, I think it does. But
I think it does.
Some aspects of it you can't rebind. Like you have to control the cursor, the menus with the cursor, not with the controller.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, I remember you saying that's just no. Stop it, because people need to. Because when, for example, we know a gentleman by the name of Wolsey's who is a paraplegic gamer, and he has to have certain controllers adapted to his disability, and then he needs rebindable keys in order to program certain functions of the game to work with his controller. So if you don't have rebindable keys, like, you're shutting out a shit ton of disabled gamers, and just like, that's kind of a shitty thing to do, guys.
And that phrase is perfect for what should I said. You're locking people out of the experience. That's what we're trying to avoid for any of this. And that Burr would never have finished Celeste without those accessibility options.
True.
And the game didn't make you feel like you played lesser experience. You've still got everything you would have if you played the game normally.
Yes.
Exactly how it should be done. That's how you do accessibility options. You don't. They're like, oh, you activated kid mode. Okay, well, we won't give you achievements then. You know, it's like
Cuphead. Yeah, getting all the way to the end, and it's like, you can't do the final boss battle unless you do it all properly. It's just like, if I want to do it the easy way, let me do it the easy way.
That annoyed the hell out of me, especially since, oh god, that took me back to Streets of Rage 1, an old classic Mega Drive game. If you play on easy mode, you can't complete the game.
Yeah, a lot of retro games were demons for doing
Punish
that.
you.
Yeah, they punish you for that, and it's like that's not what. No, you know, we're beyond that now, please.
Not true endings behind difficulty options.
Yeah, that's also that's just as annoying. It's just as annoying.
Challenge is sometimes fine. I really like some challenge sometimes. Like if you've seen me finish Ghost Runner, it was fun.
Oh yeah.
I earned my catchphrase then, and it took me a million tries, but I did finish.
You did it.
I wouldn't have been able to finish Celeste though. So,
you believed.
Yeah, I believed in myself. And,
people look at difficulty options as like a badge, and by completing it, it's like you get a reward. So it's like, well, clearly, if you complete the game on hard, you should get a better reward, right? No, you should get the same reward across all of them, because your reward is you finish the game, and as much as I hate to say this, all you get from the fact that you complete it on easy, then complete it on hard, is a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Hey! All you got was bragging rights, my dude.
Yeah, bragging rights, because you did it. Well done. That's all you deserve, quite frankly.
Yeah. There's always another person who's going to do it better than you. Always.
I will fight Gerard on that. I will fight Gerard on that hill. That, you know, just because you don't know hard difficulty.
Gerard? You've been called out.
No, don't fight Gerard. That man is so tired.
He's tired.
You kind of don't have to fight Gerard, because I want to be a bit contrary to that, because I feel like there should be some accolades and some achievements for people who can and will and want to go the extra mile, do everything, do all the achievements, do all the hardest bosses, etc.
Yeah, the thing is, that should be separate from difficulty.
no. What they just mean is they should, including the difficulty, but people shouldn't be putting that much store into it. So if you sort of want to 100% a game, those extra collects should be counting into that, but they could be showing into a sort of showcase within the game where you can show like, look at my shiny medals for completing the game on super hard mode, but in say Steam page or in PlayStation trophies, they wouldn't count into the 100%, or they would count over 100%. Like they could be counting into 115%, like they do in Hollow Knight, where there is a over 100% completion.
I platinumed Uncharted 2. And that game's not easy on crushing difficulty, I'll tell you. But to this day, I feel like, wow, I feel very achievement for that. But all I did was play through the game multiple times on a harder difficulty, which, to be fair, if you condense it all down to just finish the game, sure more people can get platinums. Is that a problem?
Not for me.
Not really.
Yeah.
It's just
Not
a
really.
sense of pride. It's just a number.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that I managed to complete, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the highest difficulty, but it wouldn't, harm me much if that wasn't based on an achievement.
Yeah, I've never completed anything on the hardest difficulty. I've just if I love a game, I will 100% it. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I will die on my hill. I will play games on easy if I have the choice. Like fuck, like come at me. Just like
Okay.
the thing is I play games to have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And that means I'll play it on easy just so I can get through the game. And I don't care I don't care if that makes you unable to sleep at night. Die mad about it in a video game.
Now that's the meaning of accessibility. Everybody should have access to video games, be it through difficulties, through visual settings, through controllability. That's the main thing we're pointing at here. Everyone should have access.
Yeah, and I like, just as you were saying, like it just came to me, like some people lose the ability to play video games the original way. Like if you have a stroke and you get like hemiplegia, you lose like functionality in one side of your body, you're gonna need some help. You're gonna need those difficulty options, or God forbid you lose a limb or something. You're gonna need help.
Yeah.
And so it's not just for people. It's not just for for people who have congenital conditions, or for just people who just need a little bit of help. It's for everyone. It's literally for everyone. Yep. Accessibility is for everyone. That's why it's access all areas.
That's why we also need charity organizations like Special Effect, who are making it available for people who need extra controllers and additional accessibility.
And I don't mean to kind of pry, but yes, I was talking with Weird this past Sunday about my future with Game Blast. This coming up, so Team Weird Blast is definitely happening again in 2022. Along with more goals. I've already
sending us now. Where are you sending us to now, Burr?
I've already said that if we breach, one of my goals will be, and I'm going to say this right, I don't know how much we're going to put at. One of my goals is going to be Star Wars games. Just a series on every single Star Wars game. Not a full playthrough of each one. At least one stream on each Star Wars game ever made. That I can get, of course. So, yeah.
Well then.
Well, according to my Steam library, there's quite a few.
That's just what's on Steam.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there are SNES games. There are.
Oh, I'm well aware of what there is.
I remember having an Attack of the Clones GBA game.
Yeah.
God knows why.
Yep. I'll take the good with the bad.
You'll have to borrow Rogue Leader from Shadow.
Yeah, you'll have to come round.
I think that's a nice place for us to end it for tonight. I think we've kind of covered the topic on accessibility in terms of from as wide a spectrum as we can, from disability to being comfort of gaming and such, and even just difficulty options. I think it's covered a wide spectrum.
Mhm.
And if you in the chat have got anything you want to mention, just be sure to pop it in there or pop us a message where you can find us, of course, at our respective handles underneath our various images. Me, Ebak the cat, Every Burr, Lemming, Russ, and at Shadow Phoenix R1. So I want to thank you all for joining us. When are we here next? Well, that would be next on it'd be Tuesday the 26th that we would be next showing the podcast.
Aren't
So
you streaming? No, wait. Aren't you streaming a game, Evac?
am I?
This weekend.
Oh, this weekend. Yes, I am. Well,
Yes,
that's
you are.
when we're next back with the Commandant's podcast.
Ah.
I was about to go into what else we're doing. So yes,
Mm.
the
Yes.
next time that we hear the Commandant's podcast are here, it is the 26th of October. So we can then get
Hopefully be
there.
on time.
Hopefully be on time that week. As for what everyone else is doing, I'll build up to what I'm doing. Shadow, you doing any streaming? I know you recently finished Obra Dinn.
Yes, I have finished the Oberdin. That was fucking whack. I've also made the captain eat everybody because that's one of the secret achievements is to
Yeah.
blame everything on him.
Captain did it.
And
That was fun.
and also
All
to
his
do that,
fault.
you can make him eat everybody, which is hilarious. You have to make
That
sure
was-
he kills himself though.
That was fun, and I copied the idea and got an achievement for it.
Yes. Yeah. Oberdin is overdone.
In fact,
Yes,
that's
indeed.
the achievement name.
That's actually achievement. Yeah. So I don't know when I'll be streaming next because I think a lot of things are going to be happening in my life that might involve my bathroom, which is over there somewhere. Yeah. So I might not. So I might not be streaming. But when I next stream, I will be playing a little indie game by the name of The Mortician's Tale, which is basically you work in a mortician's and you get bodies ready for burial, and you treat them with respect. But after that game, I don't think it's going to take long. I think it's only going to be one stream. But after that game, I promised these gentlemen to go back to the first game I ever 100%ed, which is Asterix and Obelix XXL 1. I love that game. I have lots of nostalgia. I don't know how good the port's going to be. Scarf has made noises that the port might not be that good. We'll find out. I will gush. I will do silly things. I will no doubt get extremely salty, but we'll find out. I'm not promising to complete the game. I'm not promising to 100% that game on the stream. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Lemming, what are you doing?
What day are we all doing a thing off stream this week?
Tomorrow.
Just don't know what.
Tomorrow and
well,
also Thursday.
Tomorrow and Thursday, actually, yeah.
Well, bugger.
Whoops.
Oh, what were you planning to do, my friend?
I guess I'm not streaming this week. I'll be back next week. But the next game I'm going to be playing, because I really enjoyed it last Thursday, is Unmetal.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is basically a throwback to classic Metal Gear 1 and 2 from the NES or SNES era. I can't remember which
Actually, it was
consoles they were on.
it was the MSX, just to correct you.
There we go, yeah, the MSX. And it's just downright hilarious. It's got some things in it that I did not expect. For example, there's a crafting system to craft items that you need to progress the game. Brilliant, I like that idea. But I got stuck at one point. I was combining everything I could find. And at one point combined a lit cigarette with a can of fuel, and I exploded. It literally just game overed me. Just like,
Fun was had.
you literally just killed yourself. Well done. So,
Yeah,
restart from checkpoint. Wonderful.
Yeah, and at that point you're like, I would be bad, but
That was my fault. That was my fault.
yes.
Yes,
It was that moment he realized he'd fucked up.
exactly. Yeah, there's plenty of moments like that. It's hilarious. So, join me next week where I'll be playing more of that.
Also, pick it up. Our metal is quite cheap. Go get it.
Oh yeah, it's cheap. It's indie, and the voice actor for the main character actually liked my tweet, so I was like, yay!
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Brr.
Yeah, I've not streamed in a very, very long time. I forgot how to do it. But I do want to finally start this game about a lady who comes to a town and she shows her true colors. Which is Life is Strange True Colors. So I've been meaning to stream it for over a month, and it's never was a good chance for it. So we'll see if this Sunday will be better. If it will, I will stream it on Sunday.
Awesome. So I'm doing some stuff this week. So there's no stream for me tomorrow, of course, and of course Thursday. But on Friday, I'll be playing Metroid Dread when it comes out. I'll
It's
be
finally here.
and I'll
It's so
Hey.
excited.
I
chat.
might be aware, chat, that the normal start time is 8 o'clock. I might start early at 7. If you want to check out when I'm starting, check out my Twitter. I'll be tweeting whenever I'm going live on Friday. Just be aware I might be starting at 7 that night, just because I want to dive deep into it. As for that, I will be streaming on Saturday, which I'll be doing some more Hitman and of course some more Metro Dread. And also Sunday is an RPG day, which I'll have my Star Wars group playing on. So I'll be streaming on Sunday from noon until 5. That's gonna be fun. Well, 4 o'clock, 5-ish. So that's gonna be fun. I want to thank all of you out there for joining us for the Common Debts podcast. I want to thank all of them for being my co-hosts for tonight's show. Every Burr, Lemming, Rush, Shadow, Phoenix, Ryder, and my name's Meaty Back, and we wish you all a good night.
Good night.
Right.
Peace.
Look after yourselves, or I'll stab you.
She will. She'll stab you. She'll stab you. She'll stab you. You know what? Where is she'll stab?